Evening there. How you doing? This is All for United, and we are, well, here to chat all about United. That's literally the point. We're all here for Man United. Hopefully you're all here for Man United, and we are all about to have a little look at the West Ham United game. That is our first port of call, but no doubt we will be touching on the joys of the Super League that are coming our way, and of course we will be doing the main thrust of the show today, which is running the rule over how we think the first half of the season's gone with our players and effectively deciding whether or not we should keep, bench or sell. We do like a good game of keep, bench, sell. Something that seems to be happening quite a lot of Man United currently. I'm pretty sure they're playing it themselves in the backstage. But yes, who we got with us tonight? We have got Dan, of course, as ever, managed to wrangle himself the evening. Dan, you okay, sir? Can't hear you.
I had not muted myself that time. That was you.
Well, you know, I do have that ability. Yes, I can't lie.
I'm dying of man flu, but I'll get there. I'll get there slowly.
Okay, speaking of man flu, another one who's got it is Super Stu Willie just down there. Tried to sweat it out, hasn't quite worked, so he's going to try and talk it out tonight, I believe. How are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, obviously, man flu, I get it much, much worse than that. As I keep telling my missus, when it strikes me, it strikes with vengeance. Mm-hmm. There's a real demon bubbling away inside. I mean, it won't disappear. But I did try and sweat it out last night to no avail. But to be fair, I was on absolute fire in front of goal last night, chaps. Absolute fire. Couldn't miss.
Probably because the goalkeeper didn't want to come near you.
What goalkeeper? There wasn't a goalkeeper in there. What do you mean? three top bins, fellas, left and right. Well, happy peg. That is left and right peg. You know.
Good job.
Left and right.
Well played. And just below us, of course, we've got Super Andrew Wall, season ticket holder extraordinaire, and the man with the clicky microphone. How are you doing, sir?
I'm all good. Not been struck by man flu yet, so looking forward to the games over Christmas and hopefully United getting some much needed points.
Good stuff. I've had the man flu. I already had that whilst I was at school, so I'm hoping that will stay away over the holidays, but we shall see. Dan, as you can see here, kind of agreeing that I do things like that, although I don't mute him. I just ignore him instead with proof positive that is just a complete lie. It's impossible to ignore Connor. He's got a quiff the Great Wall of China, so it's impossible to ignore that. We also have just down here John Commode. Hello, sir. From America, he's made himself all the way over to Pittsburgh. I think he might have arrived. Hopefully they're safely ready for the Christmas holes. And here's a name we haven't seen for a while. Witterbird, lovely to see you too. How the devil are you? Right, West Ham United, the Happy Hammers against the discombobulated Devils at the moment. We went for our thumbnail today, and I've put on it the two sides of Man United, really. We've got the Carabao Cup one inside of just a few months ago. It wasn't that long ago. And then also on the other side of it, the team that just can't seem to buy a win at the moment. So really, it should be quite a short discussion in terms of West Ham, but I'm very, very intrigued to hear what you guys are thinking. It's been a tricky set of results for United, but just off the back of a battling draw against Liverpool, we've had these sort of false dawns before where we sit here and think to ourselves, is this the corner being turned? We'll start seeing the fight from Manchester United. Andrew, we're going to kick off with you, if you don't mind, sir. What are you thinking when it comes to West Ham? Are you looking forward to this match? And how do you think we're going to get on?
I say it's always tough against West Ham, especially at the London Stadium as well. So we haven't won in the last three either, and we haven't scored in the last three. So we've got to start scoring some goals. We're going to pick up some much needed points over Christmas. And say going into the Christmas run and into the new year now, we haven't got. We're out of the League Cup, Champions League now, so we're going to have some rest between games. So the players should be firing on all cylinders for those league games now. So, God forbid we don't win against West Ham, they can leapfrog us, which I don't want to see as well. So we want to creep back up into the Champions League. Then we're going to have a good Christmas. So, let's say this season, so far, consistently inconsistent. So that's probably the you can put on a United's season table, but it could say same for West Ham as well. So especially this month, they've won 3, drawn 1, lost 2 as well, and plus getting smashed by Liverpool on Wednesday. So that wasn't. So they're going to have a point to prove. They want to bounce back on Saturday as well. So I think last season they did score the victory over us. So we've got a bit of a revenge to be had. So, but yes, looking forward to the game. So yeah.
I get the feeling if Manchester United were doing a dating profile, consistently inconsistent would be the headline, wouldn't it, for them? That would absolutely be the one. And look, the few minutes that you've been talking, Andrew, we've got ourselves another guest lined up, as long as it's not a Wednesday or a Saturday. So absolutely, I'm sure the gang who you used to be on with, and of course myself, would absolutely look forward to having you on. That would be ideal. And Merry Christmas to you, Box, as well. Stu, we'll come round to you. West Ham, do you see it being a happy hunting ground for us? Or do you see it being a bit like I suggested it might be, that we end up having a reasonably good result at Anfield and then go to West Ham and just undo all of the hard work? What do you think it might be?
I think if we can not succumb to their childish antics, their under-8s type of football that they do play against Manchester United, because all they do, they run around like little bees and little gnats, and they just pick at you all game, and trying to find space, trying to find time on the ball is an absolute nightmare. What's interesting for me will be the type of lineup that he picks and what kind of balance he goes with, because I don't think West Ham are particularly strong all areas across the park. We need to be very mindful that we not give away stupid free kicks, because Ward-Prowse is obviously dangerous on a 25-yard area kind of or circumference side. So we need to pick players that aren't going to give rash challenges away. So you'd be panicking if Fred was playing, for example, last season. You'll be panicking, although Dallow's obviously suspended now, so we're quite lucky. So Wan-Bissaka's a little bit better in the tackle, a little bit more firmer in the tackle. So, but then you've got Luke Shaw who can give away a stupid foul. McTominay will give away a stupid foul. Mino, not particularly. Amrabat, well, it really depends what day you get Amrabat on, to be honest. But he's going to have to be super disciplined. But I think this big question will be, and although for me it should be a big question, it won't be for him, is what he does with Bruno. Does he bring Bruno back in, or does he leave Bruno on the sidelines? And for me, I would leave Bruno out of the team. You don't go to Liverpool and get a result, and really had 2 better clear-cut chances than them. People were lauding Trent Alexander-Arnold's little flick, but if Garnacho had just stepped across 2 inches, we would have had a penalty kick. Or he would have had a shot on goal effectively. Trent would have kicked his foot. He wouldn't have got the ball if he'd stepped across him 2 inches. And Højlund, if he kind of leaned to the right and swung his left leg at it, he may well have looped over Alisson. So, look, it's easy for me to sit here and tell players what to do. When the ball's running and, you're in real time, it's a completely different thing. But these are why these guys are paid 100, 200, 300 grand a week to make these split second decisions. I didn't necessarily think that Liverpool caused us that many problems. Yes, what was it, 35 shots or something stupid like that, but only had about 8 on target. So that should tell you that a lot of it was shooting either from distance, or they weren't necessarily penetrating us as much as they did. So I certainly think the re-emergence, if one for the better phrase, of Varane coming back will make a difference. I can't see. Although I would bring Maguire in, but to be fair to Varane, I thought he was an absolutely monster in defence for headers. I've never seen him head the ball as many times. It really surprised me. He was dominant and aggressive. It really surprised me. So it'll be interesting to see on certain areas what he does and what he does with the personnel. I think for me, you've got to stick with Mino. You have to play him. I think the Amrabat Mino dynamic is good and it's workable. People, and I'm the same. I'm kind of really on the fence with Amrabat. I don't think we've seen a fit Amrabat all season. We haven't seen an Amrabat that's really adapted to the Premier League. But he does complement Mino's style really, really well because Mino is one of the most almost ballerina type players that I haven't seen in such a long time. The way that he's able to control what he does with the football, control his space. He does everything almost in slow motion, but it's relatively quickly. He's a wonderful talent. I think with Amrabat, that takes that off nicely. So my key area is going to be if you play Anthony and if you play Garnacho, what do you do with Bruno? And that, to me, I think you take him out of the equation. People aren't going to like it. He's our captain. He should be the one that's unlocking the opposition. But I think if you go with top against West Ham, I think you'll cause them a lot more problems. But you do then rely on your wingers to kind of cut in and make that four in the middle. So difficult one, but that's those are the questions for me. Can we come away with a victory? Well, we're not scoring goals as Andrew said, irrespective of how many we've scored in the Champions League, we're just not scoring goals and we're not taking chances, and that's because we're not aggressive enough. And I don't know what it is with Anthony at the moment. I'm not really sure what it is with Garnacho. Garnacho's lost his ability to attack the diagonal. Anthony's just I don't know what Anthony's done. I just don't get it. So it's a strange one for me. Up top, what he does, I know we'll talk about it in a bit, but anyway, that's how I see things. How I would pan it out, really.
Well, as Richie says here, well done, Stu. Gave your best effort, even when you're poorly.
Thank you.
Really all we ask from anybody when it comes to Man United, isn't it? They give their best effort. And if only we saw that more. So, Dan, I saw you shaking your head when this came up. I assume it was to Simon that your head was being shook and not because you're annoyed with something that Stu said. But
he's trying to get the car out of his ears, I think.
Maybe that as well. Yeah. That's, as we've said, did you feel like when you look at Manchester United now, the fact that we're out of the Champions League, the fact that we've now got roughly a week between most games, to be fair, do you feel like this is an opportunity now for Ten Hag to find his 11, find an 11 that work hard together and work well, and really, come hell or high water, stick with that team now to the end of the season with just the occasional changes where absolutely necessary, and try and get some impact players on? Do you think this is almost where he needs to be, or not? And feel free to have your right reply to Simon about Mr. Harry Maguire there as well.
Box already did it, so I don't need to. I think that's what he's going to do, to be honest. I think he's going to find his 11 to 13, but and again, even if it's Maguire, even if it's McTominay, or whoever, he needs to move on the players that he's not going to want. We're in a position now where you can do that in January. So even if Maguire's had a good first half of the season, in my opinion, so if we can sell him for 50 million, 40 million in this window, sell him. Because ultimately, if Ten Hag doesn't want him, this is now the time to start backing him. And that includes players that maybe I personally would keep Maguire, but the perfect time to rebuild is probably now. Basically, we're out of every competition bar the FA Cup. We're not going to win the Premier League. It's sort of a perfect opportunity to kick on. Whether United are, I don't know what the word would be, capable of doing that backroom wise is a different story. We've seen the leaks again tonight on social media of next week, lads, for the takeover next week again. They're saying now, even if it got ratified this coming Friday, it would still be well into the new year before he takes over. So I think it's all on the background of the club before the front of it. But West Ham in particular, I would make one change or two changes. One's forced. I'd bring Wan-Bissaka and obviously Vidallo, and I would just swap Fernandes for McTominay. But having said that, I completely agree with Stu. and I said it on last week's show. If we go to Anfield and you get a point at Liverpool, and to be fair, we might not have played amazing, but we had the best 3 chances of the game. Why not stick with that team and give them another chance to perform? Because this has been the problem. The problem it's for some of the players would be the fact that Fernandes then comes straight back into the team when the team performed admirably without him. So yeah, I would only make the one change for the West Ham ultimately, but I think he'll bring Bruno back in. I just don't think he's going to drop McTominay, to be honest. So I personally would keep the double pivot. I think we play better with a double pivot. If we go away from it, I can see West Ham causing us problems, especially on the break, because they are rapid. Kudos in particular is really fast. And Bowen, he's not just quick, he's really good technically. He makes some excellent runs off the ball. Oddly enough, I agree with leaving Evans and Varane in if Maguire's still not at it, because you've got to be at it in the Premier League. You can't just come back in and hope for the best. Yeah, I wouldn't do too much against West Ham. I said before the game, this is the perfect opportunity for the club to really start making some changes and back Ten Hag in what he wants to do. It's genuinely just, he's going to suffer like other managers. I don't think they're going to get done in January what needs being done for him. And ultimately, I think it's going to let him down. I think we need a good January. So Sancho's got to go, and anybody he doesn't want, they need to get rid of. But are they going to do that? I don't think they are.
Hard to tell. Hard to tell. I think whichever way you look at this, as Vicky says, with the social media, it seems clear that Bruno's going to be back. Maybe the break help him read the game better. Also says, can you see Anthony being replaced by Rashford? In a simple word answer, Andrew, do you see Anthony being taken out for Rashford to return?
Well, because Anthony plays on the right, and Rashford's not very good on the right, so unless... No, Saturday's game, I'm just thinking if Rashford comes back and he's going to be on the left, and then it's probably going to be Anthony on the right, so you're going to drop Garnacho to the bench. But yeah, so Anthony's he's been a bit up and down, hasn't he? So he's some games he's been brilliant, some games you just left frustrated. I'm just thinking, my only one thing about Anthony's, just cross the ball in, please. Sometimes you don't always have to cut in. And I'm Holding's just sitting there in the box going, give me the ball. I can do something with this. And I'm just thinking as Anthony, when he gets the ball, I'm thinking, have you got a right foot? Can you cross it in? So, yeah, it's my only frustration with Anthony, but probably don't see him being dropped for the West Ham game.
Okay. Well, there we go. Either of you two disagree, or do you feel like it will be Anthony to start?
I think Anthony's going to start. I think Dan's right as well. Bruno's clearly going to come back in, so is Vicky. Bruno's clearly going to come back in, but you got to, if you want to be manager of Manchester United, you got to show some stones, some nuts. And you got to turn around and say, sorry, pal, you're on the bench, and that's it. I'm not changing that team, although I would take McTominay out of that team anyway. Dan, mine would go in, and I'd stick Rashford up top as a 2-prong with Højlund. But then that does mean you've got to, that does mean then you've got to play Anthony and Garnacho.
So I would keep McTominay in. I'd take Amrabat out. I'd leave Mayhem where Amrabat is, because I think Mayhem can do that job, and Scott can help in support and defence and move forward as well and help Bruno, because Bruno is clearly going to come back in. But
I think the problem with McTominay, Andrew, is, and as much as I agree with you, I don't think he's disciplined enough for the Amrabat.
Yeah, we've seen that midfield three, haven't we?
I'm not saying Amrabat's as disciplined for the Amrabat role at the moment either, but I mean, I suppose if you're looking at one or two, I wouldn't necessarily go with Amrabat. However, right now you're taking a goal threat out of the team if you take McTominay out as well. So, I get that, but effectively you're supposedly bringing in a goal threat with Bruno if you do bring him in. So I just think, sometimes, look, the problem that, we've had this year is we're so predictable. We really are. Yeah, 4-3-3, the end. Doesn't matter how you slice it or dice it, it's a 4-3-3. We're going to play 2 wingers. Then we're going to play 1 up top, and we're going to play 3. Well, we don't know those 3 don't even float. They don't even intertwine anymore. They don't help each other out. They don't come back as a unit. They don't go forward as a unit, and it makes it really, really difficult. So that's why you're seeing this huge gap at this point in time, probably of about 20 yards between our deep line in midfielder, whoever that is, and Varane or whoever it is, Maguire or Evans. And then you've got this. All right, okay, there was a bit more defending from our wingers on Sunday. I mean, we all saw that Anthony in particular was getting back. Garnacho was okay, but we're not establishing a connection and a contact with Højlund. So when we are breaking, I mean, it was on 2 occasions where Anthony had got a 10-yard run on Shimikas. I mean, literally a 10-yard run, and he just got a pang it. I mean, Shimikas was 22 yards away from the byline. He should just pounded him and pounded him and pounded him. You know, run at him, get him out of the way with his left arm, get that cross in or cut in and go for your strike. And he had that on at least 2 occasions. Garnacho ran into trouble all the time. I mean, Trent, I thought, did pretty well with him, if I'm being honest. But again, Trent's not what I would class as a great defender. And somebody of Garnacho's ability should be able to actually get at him properly. We didn't do that. Højlund again. I can't work. I don't think Van Dijk bullied him to the extent that we've seen him bullied at Bayern Munich, for example, by Upamecano and by Kim. Maybe he learned his lesson from that. But I mean, yeah, he didn't get too much change out of it. But then he had that one chance. And those are chances you've got to kill and you've got to score and you've got to make sure. And it goes back to years ago. The old saying is you get one chance, one goal. We did it at Newcastle back in '96 when Cantona, the ball came across from Neville, bang, Cantona puts it away. It's that type of thing you need from this big time player. We just don't have that at the minute. It's such a shame, really.
On the Højlund thing, there's a stat floating around. I don't know how true it is. I need to double check it. Yeah. But apparently Garnacho and Anthony between them have only passed the ball to him 7 times.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
Which is absolute madness. If it checks out, that is incredible.
What he stopped doing though, what he stopped doing is making those runs. He stopped making those ballistic runs, those quick 10-yard dashes across the turf.
Yeah, because no one finds him.
Looking around and he's like, oh, what have I done that for? No fucking ball. So, but I agree with Simon. I think Højlund will come good. I think his overall play is really, really good. He holds the ball up well. He's got pace to burn. He's strong. He's not quite a finisher just yet. But he will be. You got to keep practicing. You got to keep practicing. When everyone goes home, get some of the youth team to ping your crosses in. Bang, 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 bang. That's what you want to do.
Maybe. All right, let's get to it then, chaps. Saturday morning, 12:30. Score is going to be what? I'm going to go with Dan first because we're going in order of. In other way, we're going to give Andrew the chance to be last on this one. You need some thinking.
I'm going to go for 2-1 Man United. I think Højlund will finally get his first goal.
Okie dokie. Stu?
Well, I predicted 0-0 for Manchester United. I'm on record. But I agree with Dan. I think we'll beat them 2-1. I think we will actually score more than one goal. But trust me, we'll go a goal down. It'll be a tough one.
Fair enough. John has put 1-0. Bruno Fernandes, Vicky Witterbird saying 1-1. I just see that. Simon's got an extra goal. He's gone 2-1 United, Højlund first goal. That's what you going, Andrew. 3-1 United or 2-2, or are you going to spoil the pattern altogether?
I'm going to spoil the pattern. It's going to be a tight and cagey affair on this. Yeah, it's going to be a tight and cagey affair on Saturday. I mean, yeah, home advantage will play a part for West Ham, and they'll, not be hopeful after, being smashed by Liverpool. But also we've shown inconsistencies as well. So, but we can take a little bit of confidence from that 0-0 against Liverpool. We've just got to start scoring. But think John put it in the comments earlier. I think the Burnley and Fulham game, I think it's going to be 1-0, and hopefully it's 1-0 in our favour, and it's Hoyland getting the winner, I think. So it'd be nice to get his first Premier League goal at the London Stadium.
Yeah. Okay. Dave's added to it. If we turn up 3-1 for me, if not 2-0 to West Ham. To be fair, if we don't turn up, I think the game gets voided, so they'll just get the points.
3-0.
Chance to play. And Buck saying 1-0 to United as well. I know what you mean, Dave, by the way. I think we're going to go 2-0. I think I'm going to go 2-0, but I feel like that is my heart ruling my head. Because, deep down, I'd quite like us to win that with perhaps Bruno and Scott getting the 2 goals, or Hoyland getting involved on the act. But yeah, I think my head sort of says that Onana's not keeping a clean sheet, even though apparently he's got 6 of them so far this season, which still just does not register in my mind. Simon's off on his way out. Thank you very much. See you next time. And thanks for popping by as ever. So there we go. That's West Ham previewed. I'm sure we'll go into much more detail with that when we have our show on the Saturday evening. Be slightly later time, I think, as well for that, but we will get to that at the end of the show. So let's get down to, we've had the meat. Now let's have we've had the 2 veg rather. Let's have the meat now, shall we? On the old roast dinner that we're having tonight, because I was talking to Dan about what sort of show shall we do. There's a preview for West Ham. We've got to throw that in, but what shall we talk about? And Dan suggested maybe we go for what we'd like to see our squad look like in 18 months' time. And I didn't have the heart to play that sort of game. I'm not Mystic Meg. I can't be doing with it. So maybe that's going to be a Dan show for a little bit later on in the month. But then I thought to myself, what we can do is sort of bring it forward a week, really. Let's have our look at what our team looks like at the moment, and really whether we're at all impressed or see a future for them in the positions they're being used. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we want to get rid of them. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're putting out some sort of an agenda against a certain player and that sort of thing. It just means, can we see a future for them? Can we see Ten Hag picking him? Can we see them getting better? Have there been any shoots of recovery? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it into their rough positions. I say rough positions because in a bit we're going to get to fullbacks. We all know that Luke Shaw's gone into the centre-back position at some point this season. I know. But we're going to go where they're more generally favoured to play. I'm just going to have a little chat about the position in general and where those players have got in. And then we'll spend maybe, we've got 1, 2, 3, about 5 positions to look at, really. So we'll look at those. Maybe spend sort of 8 or 9 minutes altogether on that, and then we'll come up with a simple keep, bench, sell. Do we keep them and play them regularly? Do we keep them but put them on the bench because they're going to be more of an impact player and maybe there's going to be something better for them over the next 12 months? Or do we just sack them off, get rid of them, whether it be for their own good or for the good of the club? So we're going to start off with the easy position, which is that of goalkeeper, which we possess 3, who should be 3 fantastic goalkeepers. We obviously have Onana, Heaton, and Bayindir. It's an interesting chat, really, because we've got one who has played all 25 games so far this season, and then we've got 2 that we've barely seen. We've seen Heaton before. We are aware of him and know what he can do. We can't tell you anything about Bayindir. So we'll kick off. Stu, we'll let you start off on this one. The goalkeeping situation in general, how are you feeling about that here at United?
Yeah, look, I'll keep all 3. Got no problems with them. People don't like Onana, etc., etc., etc. But look, there's very, very few goalkeeping shirts in Premier League football that you would say is pressure-free. Manchester United's and Liverpool's are by far the most pressurised number 1s, and we've had some brilliant number 1s in the past and they've been absolutely woeful. I think Onana will come good. I've not seen Bayindir, but you need experience in Tom Heaton. Eventually he'll move into a coaching role, I would say, and you can promote one of the junior keepers, but I would keep all 3, no problem. Got no issues.
I'm muted. Let's try and mute myself. That'll help. Dan, what about you? He says no issues whatsoever. I'm slightly less reserved than that, but how do you see the goalkeeper situation at the minute?
I've got no issues with keeping all three because of age, experience, etc. My only issue with Onana is he would be on a stay of execution, let's say, because he's 27, so it's not like he's a young lad coming in and the shirt should be weighing him down. He's been to a Champions League final. He knows what it's about to be at top clubs and be in top competitions. So I would keep him now, but if we're still having a discussion in 12 months that he's struggling to adapt to the shirt, then we'd have to start thinking about other options. But I've got no issues with keeping them now and seeing how Onana gets on. I'm not going to chuck him under the bus just yet. I can remember David started really slowly. Just the difference for me is age. He needs to come to the table a lot quicker than David did because of his age.
Okay. Andrew, you are in the more privileged position of having actually seen Onana in goal live and not just the bits that we get to see thanks to a camera. But how do you sort of see the goalkeeping situation at United? Because, as I say, Onana's been the only one to play. Even when he's dropped a couple of howlers, Ten Hag has stuck with him. There's been no problems there. Bayindir's not even getting a sniff, not even in the cup games so far that we've seen. So where do we go with this? I can't understand it personally. I don't know how Bayindir hasn't been given a game yet. Perhaps you can tell us.
Yeah, I'm surprised Bayindir, not even in the League Cup game, we didn't. Those two games we did have in the League Cup, the Bayindir started, but that's probably where Ten Hag's stubbornness come. Like last season, it was just like, I'm going to play virtually the same 11, bar maybe one or two changes, but not with goalkeeping situation. Yeah, keep all three. Yes, Onana's had a mixed start to his career at United, and there's been a few ropey performances, and especially in the Champions League, and especially a few high-profile errors he's done, and it's just, I just think with Onana, he's, like I say, he is an upgrade on De Gea. So he's good at distributing the ball as well, and I'm just thinking, yes, De Gea was a great shot stopper, so that's the job of a goalkeeper, stopping the balls going in the back of the net, and he had great reflex as well. But with De Gea, when he couldn't get the team moving quickly enough with his distribution, which Onana can do as well. So, but I think in time, Onana will prove his value to us, and it just, I think once the size starts playing better, then we'll see the very best of Onana. But there's definitely aspects of his game he can improve on, like he's claiming the ball from crosses, but like I say, his distribution's good. So, but yeah, definitely an upgrade on De Gea, but let's say give him more time and he'll come good.
Interesting stuff. So, I mean, to a degree, all of you guys have answered the question that I said we was going to get to on that one. John Como's saying, do you have one league game in January has always been moved to Thursday, the 1st of February? I think we've got one league game and hopefully 2 FA Cup games. If the Wolves one's been moved, then yes, that would have been the second one. So I believe that's but we shall see. Woodsbird saying, I think when he has a consistent back four, then we'll see the best in Onana, which I would hope would be the case as well. Whereas Dave says, I think Bayindir will get his chances in the FA Cup next month. So I'm not going to go around individually and waste time. Basically, as far as you lot are concerned, we're keeping the same 3 goalkeepers. You wouldn't get rid of any of them.
Yep.
Okay. I'm a bit with Dan. Onana's very much on my watch list at the moment. I could go either way with him. But I really hope that Vicky's correct there, and that when we get a consistent back four, we start to see an understanding grow between the 5 of them, and that we do see the Champions League finalist Onana, and not the one from Jerry's circus that we seem to be seeing at the minute. So we shall see. Defense. Let's move into that, and we'll start off with our fullbacks.
That's easy.
Just where I like to start. And within that, I've got 7 names. Yep, 7 names. Can you count? That's good. Obviously, 2 of them are on loan at the moment in Brandon Williams and Fernandez. So they're just sort of there in terms of they're available somewhere if we desperately needed them. But whether or not we could recall them I'm unsure. We've then got Malacia, who's obviously been injured and has not played at all yet so far this season. So between them, we've got Reguilon, Dalot, Shaw, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Dallow's had 24 appearances, lads. He's the most capped fullback that we have of them all, followed by Aaron Wan-Bissaka with 12, Reguilon and Shaw with 10 and 9. It's a tricky one. So the fullback situation, Stu kicked off last time, so we'll start with Dan this time. The fullbacks, where are you standing? Who are your two mainstays? If you had the choice and you could pick, everybody's fit, which two would you go for? And what do you see occurring within this fullback situation? Do you see Malacia getting back at all this season and having an opportunity to go? Where's your feelings on it?
I'd keep my two to keep for sure would be Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. After that,
Shaw's world class and the only one in the team.
Well, I dare not say that he should stay because I feel like Tony will burst through my door. But yeah, no, I keep Shaw and I keep Wan-Bissaka as well. I personally don't have a huge issue with Dalot and Wan-Bissaka as the right back. I think we've got more problems in the team. I just think it should go to whoever's on form out of them. And honestly, in my opinion, it's Wan-Bissaka at the minute. And the last 6 months of last season, it was Dalot. So I think they're capable of pushing each other if they're both at it. It's just down to Ten Hag to pick between them, really. Left back wise, I think we're going to have to go into the market at some point because I think we've got a chance to sell Williams to Ipswich if they come up, which is a good. I think we'll get a bit of decent money if they can come up as well. We've obviously got Fernandez out on loan, who, from what I understand, we can recall him in Jan, and he's not played all that much. So I'm hoping, this is what I would do, but I'm just hoping. I'm hoping that Reguilon goes maybe somewhere else, and we get him back and use him as a backup. And if you're going to play him, because again, we're talking about the chance to put your stamp on the team for the rest of the season, play him as a bit of a backup for the rest of the season, give him some minutes in some of the games. We can build towards starting him next year, and we ain't got to hear, well, he's not Prem experienced. Give him experience the next 6 months, ready for next season. That's where I would go with it, with those. Malacia's a big concern because I can remember when he got injured, it was 6 weeks, 4 weeks. And then suddenly we've not seen him since. He's had setbacks. So I think he's going to struggle to get into the team or into full swing once he comes back. He's going to need a bit of time. So I'd have to put a question mark over him. I thought personally he did all right when he came in. I wasn't like over enamored with him, but I think he did okay.
Okay, sounds reasonable to me. Mr. Wall, we've had Dave so far say that Shaw, Malacia for the left, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot not right. I think he means 4 right. On the right, yes, good. Okay, I was going to say. It's a bit harsh. Dalot and Malacia, John would let go. And John goes so far as to say Dallow's one of the worst fullbacks I've ever seen. So, I've had more appearances than anybody else in the fullback positions just yet. Is one of the worst, apparently. Vicky says all it was, the knee surgery wasn't great. She had another surgery. He looked on as a work in progress from Eric Ten Hag, Malacia. And Fernandez was Preston's player of the year last season. He's a good left back. So, good point, well made. Where do you stand with it, Mr. Wall?
Well, on the right, definitely Wan-Bissaka. I just think for all Dallow's great going forward, sometimes defensively, just, he's caught out and, makes mistakes. And I'm just like, Wan-Bissaka's more consistent defensively. I just wish on Wan-Bissaka going forward, he does get more on the attack, or even when he gets to the byline as well, can cross the ball. Because when he was at Palace, and because he just started out as a winger as well, God, he'd be firing balls into the box as well. I'm just thinking, he seems to have lost that at United, and I'm just thinking, you can do that job as well. So, but I would stick with Wan-Bissaka. In terms of their left back, well, definitely Luke Shaw is like one of the best left backs in the Premier League. Just unfortunate Malacia got injured, and he's not he's not been featured at all this season. So that made me question why Alvaro Fernandez went out on loan, because he would have been a good backup for Luke Shaw. And I just think he had such a good season at Preston North End. And, but as he said, Ten Hag told him, "You're not in my plans." So he wasn't going to be sitting around not doing nothing. So that's why he went out on loan. I know there's a break clause in January, so don't see United probably activating unless, there was an injury to Reguilon. But see, with Reguilon as well, I'm just thinking he's great going forward as well. But like in a few Champions League games, he's got caught out as well. So is he going to stay? I don't really think so. But for me, from just starting wise, it would be Shaw at left back and Wan-Bissaka on the right. So, but for Dallo, I'm trying to think: do I keep or sell? And I'm just like, I'm gonna say sell. I just think, can we get somebody that can really compete with Wan-Bissaka? So yeah, it's a tough one. That one was.
Alrighty, Mr. Stew.
What would I do? I'd sell Dallo. I'd keep Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'd make Luke Shaw a hybrid defender, centre half or left back. I'd keep Reguilon. I'd loan out Malacia, and I would recall in the summer Fernandez, and I would sell Williams to Ipswich. That's what I would do. Reguilon is probably a better player than we've actually seen so far. He's had his problems with injuries, but he's he's the type of fullback that Eric Ten Hag's going to want, if that makes sense. And Malacia, as Vicky said, he's a work in progress, and he will eventually be that fullback that Ten Hag wants. But he's going to have to go out on loan now, Malacia, to rebuild his career. Dan's right. He's even if he comes back in January, he needs a loan. He needs a move away, probably somewhere like Ajax, or probably somewhere where he's comfortable and he knows, and then bring him back in the summer or bring him back after 12 months. But I think if you chuck your toys out the pram on Reguilon, I think we could be missing a bit of a trick there. He won't be expensive. He'll be cheap. He'll be a good 18-month filler for what he needs. If you bring Luke Shaw in as a hybrid centre half stroke fullback, that means you can remove Lindelof or Maguire or both if we get another one in January. So keeping Reguilon, who's a left footer, the same as Shaw, who's a left footer, bringing Fernandez back in the summer. So you've got to kind of juggle your jigsaw puzzle and fit the players into the right pieces at the minute. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, Reguilon fits that puzzle quite nicely because he's a very talented footballer. I mean, when he went to Spurs, we were interested in him, from Real Madrid. And we couldn't quite get him for whatever reason. I think it was Mourinho, wasn't it, Andrew, that was interested in Reguilon?
I think he might have been, yeah.
Probably would have been the Mourinho era. And I think he's done okay. I know people don't like him, they don't rate him. I think he's done okay. I think it's snobbery. I think it's just fan snobbery, really. It also, in my opinion, gives us a more balanced. It does mean, though, we're going to have to go into the right back market.
Interesting. So, general gist I'm getting there from that, then Malacia is obviously a keep due to the fact that he's not had the chance to show himself. Reguilon, just through nods and shakes of the head, sounds like we're keeping Reguilon. Dan doesn't seem to be playing the game.
For me, I don't know about the other two, but for me, I would. It's just my opinion.
Andrew, Dan? No? Yes?
I wouldn't keep him, no.
No? Andrew?
No.
Interesting. So just Stu. Stu's the only one. I think, again, 10 appearances, is that a huge amount to make the decision on based on when he's not on the full-on back four as we would have wanted to see so far? I don't know. I'll probably give him a little bit more time before I make that decision. Dallo, yes, no?
I'd bench Dallo.
Bench there. Stu's not happy. He's ending his career right here, right there. And Andrew?
Sell. I would sell him.
gone. Okay, so Dan being the nicest
Dalot.
one to Dalot there.
Gone.
Luke Shaw, we're all keeping because he's
Yeah.
the only world class
Yeah.
player we've got.
We're all scared of Tone.
And Wan-Bissaka also
Yes.
a keep.
Yeah.
Okay. Williams, we're selling.
I think so. Look, fair play to him though. He's played a fair amount of games, hasn't he, at Ipswich, and they're a really good side. Ipswich are, but maybe he's found his level. So I would get some money for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's perfect time to get some money for him. And do you know what? I like him as a player because he brings a little bit of shithousery about him.
Yeah.
And we missed that in the squad. We probably could have done with some of that this year. But yeah, I think he has found his level.
Fair enough.
Say the same. Sell him. He's getting game time now at Ipswich, and if they do buy him in the end, well, Ipswich could be a Premier League team next season anyway.
Yeah.
So we could be.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be.
Anyway.
I think them and Leicester are a shoe in to go up the pair of them. They're both brilliant teams. Leicester in particular are fabulous. I don't know if you've seen them. They're brilliant, Leicester.
Yeah, I saw them the other night when I played Blues. So I was literally ran through them.
Really good team.
So the way I see that then, we've got 2 casualties in Dalot and Williams with Reguilon currently on the bench. We're not sure whether we're keeping or selling just yet based on where we are, because I'm a bit with Stu. I think we've got to give him a bit more time on that one. Let's move into the central positions. We have Mr. Victor Lindelof with his 18 appearances so far this season, a goal and an assist. We've got Sir Harry of Maguire with 17 appearances, would you believe, considering he was off to West Ham apparently in the summer. He's had a goal and an assist as well. Lisandro Martinez just a 6, obviously, before he ended up being stretched off as well. He got an assist in that time as well. Rafael Varane with 14 games and a goal. And of course, Johnny Evans with his 12 appearances, no goals, but he did have an assist. How are we feeling about our centre-back position? Andrew, you get to kick off on this one. I think we're all agreed we're going to need to go and buy one because it's a little bit of age going on there, not to mention the issues we're having with our injuries as yet. But what say you?
That's where we all see, we haven't had a settled centre-back pair. And, well, Maguire's been the consistent one, of late being in the side. So what a turnaround from Harry Maguire since the summer. I was thinking he was going to go. I thought for his own mental health, the abuse he was receiving beforehand, I just thought, you need to go. But I'm just thinking, is he just knuckled down and just showed Ten Hag how hard he can work and just got back in the side, and the performance he's given, virtually every match, he's been one of our best players. So for me, Maguire, we're going to keep all day long. Can't wait to see Lisandro Martinez back. I just think he just brings that pure passion to the side as well. I'm just thinking he'll just fight for every single ball, and and also bringing the ball out of the defence, which Harry Maguire does as well. And they're looking forward and trying to get, trying to pass the ball forward, get into those angles as well. So when Martinez is back, I'm hoping Ten Hag picks them two together. With Rafa Varane, it's a tricky one with him because he's in the last year of his contract. He apparently wants to stay, and whether we want to trigger that 1-year extension, but I don't know. He seems a bit more. Obviously, injuries have cost him a few appearances this season, but I don't know. He seems to be a bit more tentative as well, and there seems to be a bit more slowing down in his sprints. But I don't know whether that's because of his, being more cautious with that over his body, and just doesn't seem to be pushing higher up the pitch. So. But which one of the things was his key aspects of the game was his speed, but I don't know whether that seems to have slightly diminished. But some would argue he needs a run of games, to get in his rhythm, which he hasn't had, and to say Maguire's been keeping him out. So with Victor Lindelof, he's had a bit of an up and down season, so just not sure whether to keep, sell, or bench him at the moment. And Johnny Evans, should never have sold him in the first place. Back then, Louis van Gaal made the decision. So I would say, would I keep Johnny Evans? I don't know. It's just probably his swan song with United. So So it depends. Maybe another year. I don't know. It depends. We definitely need another centre back in the summer. But so Johnny Evans is a red, and he hates Scousers.
I think what we'll do, just to speed this up a bit, because I'm conscious of the fact we've got about sort of 10 minutes left, really.
I can be quick here.
Magic hour, and we do have 2 people who are on the injury list as we speak.
I can be quick here, Baz. I can be
what I'm
quick
going to
here.
ask is just your top 2, the 2 that you keep, would be in your sort of your fantasy 11 if we were doing that, and just your reasons why, and then we'll run through and you just go keep, sell, bench for the others, like we said before. So off you go, Stu.
I would keep Varane, and I would keep Varane, and I'll tell you why. He's had a rocket up his ass for the first time ever in his career. When you look at the history of his career, look at who he's played for, look at who he's played with. He's been a first-team player, same with France. He's had a rocket up his ass. He didn't like it. He had a brilliant game at Liverpool, in my humble opinion. I thought he was terrific. And I think you'll see a more command in Varane moving forward. It's the first time ever in his career he's had that rocket, and I think it's done him the world of good. And you've got to keep Martinez reluctantly. And I know Dan's going to share my view on this one. Maguire needs to go in the summer. I think he's been terrific this season. People can whinge and moan all they like. I don't care. But me and Dan have stuck by Maguire because we knew the qualities that he had. But I think you can get money for him now. I think you can get better money for him in the summer, and I would take it. Lindelof's got to go, and Johnny Evans has got to go. So my 2, Varane and Martinez. I've just seen a different Varane. I just saw this, Varane I remember at Liverpool. So that's what I would do.
All right, Dan, following the same script, or not the same script, you don't have to say the same thing, but the same format, certainly.
I would only keep 1.
You'd only keep 1?
I would only keep 1 of the current lot of centre-backs, and that's Martinez. I would actively be trying to sell the rest. I don't think it's going to sound horrible, but if we're talking about getting the club back into the top tier of football, like challenging for the best stuff, that defence won't win as a title. So I would keep Martinez and try and get someone next to him that can play football. It's just then who you keep longer term. I genuinely don't know how Lindelof has managed to stay this year. I can't remember the last time Lindelof played really well, so I would sell him. Maguire's done enough this season to sort of back himself up to why he stayed. But again, I think you could go to West Ham now and say 50 million and they'd pay it. So take the money. I'm the same with Varane. If we can go to Saudi Arabia clubs in January and say, get our money back for him and get him off the wage budget, do it. That defence won't win us a title or get us to a Champions League knockout phase.
Dan's right, Baz. But what I'd do, Dan, based on that, then I think you are right. I'd extend Varane for that 12 months, and up the value. So yes, that's what I would do. If you're going to do that, just up the value. That's all. Sorry, Baz.
No, that's fine. So Lindelof, keep, sell, bench. Andrew, one word. Keep, sell, or bench.
Sell.
Stu.
Sell.
And Dan, sell.
Yeah, sell.
Okay, so Lindelof's on his way out. Maguire, was that all 3 sell?
Yeah, I'd sell.
No, keep.
Or you would keep?
I'm keeping him, sorry.
All right, so
even Martinez, I'm keeping.
I love it, Andrew.
No, Andrew, I've got no problem with that, but I would sell him as well because I think we can get money for him. And I think we're in a situation now where it's all about money for us. Yeah. It's the only reason I'd sell him.
Okay, Varane. Stu said he'd keep.
I would.
Dan, are you sort of benching?
I'd sell for the money.
Sell for the money. Andrew?
Sell we'll sell in January unless he goes free in the summer.
Crikey. Okay, yeah, and Johnny Evans.
They'll extend his contract. You've got to trigger that extra year. You've got to trigger that extra year. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, if he starts talking to another club, you extend.
You got to. Yeah, I would. Just financial. That's all.
All righty, there we go. They're all gone. Let's go into the midfield. Lovely situation to be with the mid. I know. We'll start with the sort of ones that sit back a bit more. We have got Amrabat, who's had 17 games for us so far, 6 yellow cards, but no goals, no assists. Ericsson with 11 appearances, a goal and 2 assists. 4 goals, 1 assist. Tony van der Beek, miraculously, 2 appearances. Which is 2 more than I thought he was going to get. Kobe Minu, 5 appearances. Super Scott McTominay has got the 19 with 6 goals and 1 assist. And, of course, Hannibal as well, 8 games and a goal. Based on all of those, the ones that would generally sit back more, which 2 are we keeping, Stu?
Well, Mino, obviously, because he's just on a different planet. And I'm going to surprise you here, guys. I'm going to go with Ericsson. I would keep him. And the only reason I would keep him is I know he's been injured a lot, but the experience and the guile he can bring is perfect. Everyone else, not for me. So it's just those 2. And I can see McTominay. We've got, he's got goals this year. It's a very, very difficult one, but I would just lean towards Ericsson from my eyes. That's all.
Okay. Andrew?
Definitely keep Kobe Manu. Yeah, definitely. He's going to have an incredible future at United. And the other one I'd keep Bruno Fernandes.
He wasn't one of my lists. You've gone ahead of yourself, Mr. Wall. We're on the bottom 3, not the top one.
By the way, Andrew, don't forget you've got to keep Kobe Mino because, shock horror, he doesn't use the first team car park. I mean, wow. Big news.
And Bruno's listed Bruno's listed on the midfield on the United website, isn't he? So he's in midfield.
Yes, he is, but I haven't done those yet. I've got 4 other people that are listed as midfielders that I'm going to throw into the next conversation. But so you can have Amrabat, Ericsson, Casemiro, Van der Beek, Scott McTominay, or Hannibal, and you're whinging at me because Fernandes wasn't one of them.
Well, Van der Beek's gone. Van der Beek's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, he goes in Jan.
He goes in Jan, so Van der Beek's gone.
Well, I keep forgetting Van der Beek. It's like when I've turned up at Old Trafford, and he comes out, I'm like, oh, you're still here? I keep forgetting, thinking you've already gone in my mind. Now, alongside Mayhem is Casemiro. I just think Casemiro can be such an influence on Mayhem and, developing his game. And I'd like to see them playing the team together as well, because I think that would be something to watch.
Interesting. Dan, which 2?
I'm going to go the same again. I'd only keep 1.
He's not playing the game here, is he?
It's so difficult for ourselves.
I'd only keep Kobe Minu again because if we're talking about getting back to the top table, none of the rest are showing they're good enough. If I was going to keep another player, it would probably be Hannibal, just for the fact that he's not as tested and he hasn't had as much of a chance of the rest of them. We're talking about trying to get the club back to the top, and unfortunately, you're going to have to let some of these players go to do that.
There's also you've got to take a little bit of time in this as well. You can't just take every player out.
Just one caveat.
You're never going to get the new players in otherwise.
Yeah, just one caveat. I was toying with Hannibal and Ericsson, and the only reason I jumped on Ericsson was because of experience. If you take Ericsson out and Casemiro out and Amrabat out, we've got 0 experience in there. And you're just going to, even though he won't play, you just need experience, and that's the only reason I plan for Ericsson.
Stu and I totally on the same page there. So Amrabat not looking too good at the moment. Keep sell bench.
Overly impressed.
Stu's no, Dan's no. He's gone. Doesn't matter what you say, Andrew. He's out of here. 3-1.
I'll send him back to his parent club anyway. So.
Ericsson, we had 1 keep.
I'd bench.
Dan's benching.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Bench.
Okay.
No, that's a keep. That's a keep.
That is a keep, basically. Yeah. Casemiro.
I think
Andrew,
you sell.
Keep.
Stu selling.
I think you sell.
Myself on the money again.
Selling. I've got to be honest. He's not played much. Some of that's injury, but yeah, I'd agree. Van der Beek, not even going to ask the question. See you, mate. Minu's a keep. Scott McTominay, he was a tricky one. Some people going for it. Andrew, keep, bench, sell.
Keep.
Stu.
Money.
He's turning to Abba. Dan.
Same as Maguire, sell for the money.
Scott McTominay. I'm going to bench him, so he's sort of going to hang on by the skin of his teeth. That pen's not working anymore. Okay. And Hannibal, I think we're all going to bench him, aren't we?
Yeah.
Loan.
Good. All right, now listen carefully to this, Andrew. There's 4 midfielders.
Yes.
I don't agree with these 4, by the way, purely because I feel that 2 of them at least would generally play in a more attacking three sort of way, but they were down as midfielders on the United website, and who am I to argue with Manchester United? So we have got Mason Mount with his 12 appearances, no goals, 1 assist. We've got Bruno Fernandes with his 23 appearances, 5 goals, 5 assists. Amad Diallo, who's obviously not been playing. Pellistri with 12 appearances, no goals, 1 appearance. I told you they're not really the 4 that would fit into that position. But they're the 4 that are in the conversation now. You can only keep 1 this time, so watch Dan pick 2. You can only pick 1. I'm going to go to Dan first so that he can just ruin my dreams immediately. Dan, keep, bench, sell. Which one are you keeping?
I'm not going to pick any. No, I'll pick Fernandes.
I nearly cried there. Right, Dan's picking Fernandes. I feel like this is going to be the answer all the way through. We shall see. Stu?
You see, I'm torn with Bruno, guys. I'm sorry, but you've got to perform better on a more consistent basis. You have to keep him, I guess. I guess you got to keep him. Yeah, I'm not happy with it, but I guess you got to keep him. I don't know.
He's created the most chances in the Premier League this season with 57.
I remember as well, keeping a player doesn't mean you don't go out and buy another one. The
problem is, man, we're not converting 56, are we?
Well, this is what I mean. I feel like we need to just get him back in his right position.
Yeah. So I need more from him. And people have been asking a question. They've been shot down for the last 18 months. Now's the time to ask the question. It really is, and he's got to come up with the answers. But I look, you've got to keep him. You have to. I get that. Interesting
points there. Jarvis talking about Amrabat giving him time. Whitbird agreeing
he's right.
He's one to sell. John Commode though, keeping Mason Mount. Andrew, which one are you going to keep? You've seen them both with your own beautiful blue eyes, I think. I don't know what colour your eyes are, Andrew. I've never looked at them that deeply.
They are blue. They are blue, actually.
So. Go on, Bazza.
Go on, Bazza.
Impressive, really, because they're usually shut for the amount of alcohol you drink at Stourbridge. But let's crack on, shall we? Who are you keeping?
Bruno for me, but you're just saying on about Mason Mount. I would keep him. We haven't seen the best of him yet, but I would keep Bruno.
But
top choice.
Bruno. So
there's
therefore,
a question though, isn't there, Andrew?
Bench sell. Dan, Mason, keep, bench sell.
Keep.
Stu, keep. Andrew,
keep.
He's survived the cold. Andrew,
I want to say loan.
So that's a bench, basically. Stu,
bench.
Sell him.
Sell. Dan.
I think we've missed our chance to sell him, so I'd bench him.
Okay,
well, we have missed our chance to sell him, yeah. But, I would sell him.
History, Stu,
loan.
Dan,
loan.
Andrew,
I like him. I like Pellistri.
Bench.
Yeah, good. So generally, those 4 all survive him, which is great news. Anyone says sell Scott, we need words.
Connor's giving it the big one.
I mean, what's this? Flags of some sort. Bring it on.
Black flag, I think. Was it a black and white flag or was it a black flag?
Right. The front line. The last little bit. The last bastion. And you can pick 3 out of this list. So 3, Andrew, but only from the list. Can't have Eric Cantona just because you liked him once in 1997. All right. Right, here we go. Anthony Martial, 19 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. Marcus Rashford, 21 appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists. Alejandro Garnacho, 23 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist. Anthony, 18 appearances, sweet FA in the goals and assists. Jadon Sancho, remember him? 3 appearances. Shola Shoretire is still on there as well on the Man United website. We forget about him when we're talking about him, but he has had a few appearances and was very good coming up through the youth as well. And of course, Rasmus Højlund, 21 appearances, 5 goals, no assists. And that's probably because he's so surprised that he's got the ball that he wants to have a shot. So we shall see. But 3 players you can keep from that, should you wish to. I'm not convinced 3 are going to make it out of here alive, but we shall see. Let's kick off with Stu.
2 for me, Hoyland and Garnacho.
Yeah, that feels reasonable. Dan?
He's going to say no one.
Come back to me. I'm struggling.
Go on, Andrew.
Well, I can say 3.
John's gone straight in. Look, John's full of fury. Get rid of Martial, Sancho, and Anthony. Keep Hoyland, Garnacho, and then he's missed a couple of players. So fill him in.
He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, Johnny Commode. He knows. Well done, John.
Yeah. So, 3 for me would be Garnacho, Hoyland, and Rashford. I'd keep all 3 of them.
Garnacho, Hoyland, and Rashford. I think I'd probably go along with you, there. But let's see what old Danny Boy's got going on over here. Come on now, the pipes are calling.
Right, I agree with Andy, but Rashford is on his last chance saloon.
You sound like
it doesn't make it for me. It don't make it for me.
He's so close, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because it sounds like a lot's gone off the pitch this season. But it's age. He needs to get past it and start putting performances in on the pitch. He's old enough now to be able to separate the two and perform on the pitch and keep his off-field issues off the pitch.
The thing is, Dan, right? A lot has gone off, on off the pitch for him. We still found time to do a NatWest commercial.
Football's not the same as it was, though, is it?
No, and that's it for me. You see, you're not performing on the pitch. You're having problems, but by the way, how much are you going to pay? I'll just pop down to London, just do a quick NatWest commercial. This is the problem with modern day footballers, isn't it? In general. So when you're struggling like he is, you don't need the money like he does. You just say thanks, but no thanks. I need to, concentrate on what I'm doing. So
his focus isn't in the right place.
No, he's a sell for me, Baz. So even before you ask, he's a sell for me.
Well, let's get to that. Martial was the first one. Nobody mentioned him, and I'll be brutally honest. If I don't get 4 sells here, I'm going to be very shocked, I think, is the honest answer. But we shall see. Andy?
So it's time for Martial to go.
You?
Oh, definitely keep. I mean, what a legend. No, he's got to go. He's got to go. Sell.
Well, I saw that not on the sheet, on the sell. I was going to be taken in by that. Dan?
Yeah, sell.
Okay, Martial's on his way out. Marcus Rashford, Stu's just said sell. Andrew? Yep. You said keep. Dan said keep on last chance saloon, so he makes it through skin of his teeth. Garnacho, we all agreed would stay. Anthony, he of the 0 assists and goals. Stu's getting rid. Andrew?
Keep.
Dan?
That's brave.
Reluctantly, I'd keep him.
Oh, for God.
What?
Brave.
Listen, the geezer's a nightmare. He's an absolute headline in waiting. And no assists and no goals in 18 appearances.
Yeah, I know.
And you would keep that. And you want to sit there and say to me, we've got to get rid of other midfielders like McTominay because standards, Barry. How are we going to get to the next level?
Well, don't say that. Connor's going to explode. Connor's going to explode now.
He's exploding just because that was supposed to be the Scotland flag and it turned out to be.
So it's hard to defend him with the stats you're reeling off. But he's obviously a very tactical formation player that's gonna when Ten Hag gets what he needs in and around him, it'll be really important to the team. It's just not there. So everything Anthony needs to succeed isn't at Manchester United. A bit like Donny, a bit like some other players. So I've just got some faith that if we can get the players around him, we'll start to see those stats creep up a little bit. I mean, and I'll die on that hill as well.
Yeah, I agree.
By saying, who would you sell him to?
I'm rolling down that hill because I get the logic. There's absolutely no two ways about it. Your logic is sound, very, very sound logic. I'd have ripped his fucking head off though in a changing room about 12 times this season. That's the problem, you see. When I'm walking down that tunnel and I'm Rasmus Højlund, for example, he's the first person I'm grabbing and shoving up the wall and wanting to know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I've said that on about three shows recently, and we got Garnacho.
And then I'm marching across to Garnacho, and then I'm going to pick Garnacho up and chuck him at Rashford, because I'm having a pop at all of them because they're just not doing it for me. And Anthony, I picked out 2 areas on Sunday where we could have absolutely destroyed Tsimikas, and he elected not to. And we can't afford that. Your logic is sound about the players around him, but you can't, that type of squad is a 2-3 year project, and I don't think we can afford it. But Vicky makes a wonderful point as usual.
We're not getting 80 mil back.
Absolutely. Who are we selling to?
So she's right. So
she probably is. Although Jarvis does say, "Do you think Anthony will come good with Tabad?" So I look
well,
forward
there's the thing, yeah. But for me, I still stand by sell.
Maybe
so
Ben.
I agree with you. Sancho, we're selling.
Oh, who's he?
Exactly. Yeah. He doesn't even turn up anymore. We don't see him. He's gone. Højlund we're keeping. And Shortier, I'm going to bench whether you want to or not, because it'd be harsh to have a go at him, really, wouldn't it?
He's doing well for the under-21s.
He's doing very well. Right. Doing very well.
Also, we forgot to mention Dan Gore, someone who I'm sure would all like to see more of.
Yeah, wonderful player.
So that's covered all of that. Well done. I'm going to put those on a tweet a little bit later. Maybe not tonight because I'm tired and I need my beauty sleep. I can't always look like this without it. But is just very quickly, it came out today, the news about the Super League, the fact that apparently UEFA and FIFA, get this, were unlawful. They could have imagined them doing such a thing. In ruling that the Super League wasn't allowed to happen. There's loads of rumours going around. You've already had the likes of Chelsea and Man City and Spurs coming up saying, we're not going to be part of this Super League. We're not interested. Lots of people seeming to think that now this just feels like it's got an air of inevitability about it, that there is going to be a European Super League. I know that back when this was all being put out there, we sat here as a group of people and said, we don't want it, we don't like it. I'm sure our opinions haven't changed. The question I wanted to ask was, do you see it as inevitable? Because for me, it's another one of those red lines. I had the same red line when there was all the talk about Greenwood coming back and the love that I would have in terms of supporting this club. I think if you get to a point where a Super League comes about, where all the matches are just against other European teams, and it takes away the domestic joy of football, that's the heart of football. And the minute you take away domestic football, it's what's the point? It becomes inaccessible for people that can't afford to travel to Prague and Barcelona and Madrid and all these other places. And I think if that happens, you just hit a point where really, how do you end up supporting a side like Man United? So we're going to end with Andrew on this one because he's a match-going guy on that one. And we're going to go to Stu after that because he was a match-going guy regularly before he let his son take his place. So we're going to kick off with the TV man, Dan. Who's only ever really seen Mr. Alex Ferguson, and to let us know how he feels about the European Super League.
I don't think it'll happen. I'm confident that the fans reacted well enough last time for them to see for the clubs to see there's absolutely no future in it. I genuinely think in the background there's probably been discussions about money and how they're going to process the Champions League and do things differently. But I think that the fans last time showed more than enough to put owners, clubs, leagues off it completely. You've seen with the statements, I don't think the clubs would, after the reaction last time, I don't think they would come out and say the same thing applies, we're not interested, and then go and do it. I think genuinely, I thought it was amazing. Every fan base was against it almost instantly. And it was one of the moments in football where the tribalism went away for 2 weeks while everybody fought against the same thing. So I don't think it'll happen. I think the fans have done enough to keep it away, maybe for another 20 years.
I'm hopeful. Witterbird seems to think that it's almost inevitable. She can see it happening, but agrees with me how fans want to travel if it comes to the richest people. The Champions League, Stu, is surely already morphing into what the European Super League was supposed to be. Do you see that as being what they do? They just make the Champions League an elite event for the teams that they really want to be in there, like ourselves and some of the other big teams in Europe.
Two things are really apparent for me about this, and something happened a few days ago, if you recall. The expansion of Champions League, for us to be the first English club to come out and say that we will not abandon the Premier League, etc., and UEFA suggests to me that we've had notification that we will be part of that 32-team 2025 Champions League. That's the first thing for me. The second thing is, and the more critical thing, and everybody's allowed this to filter under the radar a little bit, and that was FIFA's brilliant announcement of the World Club Cup, which will now become a 32-team event. So a Super League now is impossible, because you may as well forget Europe and have a World League. And you've already got a world competition now, as well as a 32-team UEFA competition. So you're going to have the competitions. There is no added benefit for a start, and there is no, I don't think, appetite just to have a Super League. Now, a lot of things will have to happen for a Super League. For example, we would have to pick and choose again, which is what we did back in '99, what we do in terms of FA Cup, in terms of Carabao Cup. And you cannot kill the domestic competition. It's not right, because that's where lower league clubs make their money. So you cannot kill that cash cow. You just can't. Then there's an argument to suggest, well, will they field a team of youngsters? Well, I've never agreed with that anyway, because if you sign a professional contract for Manchester United can field who they like, as long as that player is registered and available to play. You can field who you like, you can. But then you've got match-going fans like Andrew. You've got fans like Dan, who wants to go but can't go. So watches, the players that he wants to see on television. And, as much as you love youth, you're not going to want to see youth all the time. But then every Wednesday, if you're seeing Manchester United versus AC Milan, or Manchester United versus Real Madrid, Manchester United versus PSG, nobody gives a damn. Manchester United City, Manchester United Liverpool, we see it year in, year out. Nobody cares about that. So that therein lies, again, if you remove the Super League, do you have a World League? Because the World League is the only way to go. It's the only place to go. There's no point having a European Super League. You've got to have World. And it's ridiculous to have a World League at the same time. You've got Saudi Arabia will chuck billions at it. They will do. They chuck absolutely billions at it. But it's ridiculous to have that World League, just so you can see Ronaldo, play Manchester United, Al Nassr. Manchester United, we don't give a damn about Al Nassr, Al Ittihad, or whatever. We don't care about that, do we? Really, as fans, what we care about is the hustle and bustle of Manchester United, Liverpool, the hustle and bustle of Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Newcastle, Sunderland. I was going to say Crystal Palace, Brighton, but I'm still not convinced on that one. Wolves, Aston Villa, Birmingham, Aston Villa. West Brom, Wolves. The real crutch ones, and then we want to see. Notts County go to Old Trafford and get a payday and get some money and stuff of this nature. So I think the key to all of this, and by the way, look, these guys, this A22, were ready to go with their presentation. Now, they could have been ready to go anyway. It was the most pathetic, childish, under-10s presentation I've ever seen anyway, for a new Super League. Star, gold and blue. I mean, do me a favour, crikey. You get a gold star, blue star, whatever it is. Oh, fuck off. Nobody's interested in that shit. This pathetic under-10s thing. They're ready to go because I think they were tipped off. Actually, I think they already knew. But I'm 100% sure that Manchester United, we might not have made it, might we, guys? Andrew, you'll know more than me. We might not have made the 2025 cut for the European League, but I believe we have now, and I believe that's why we've come out and we've said what we said. And the final twist, the final nail, is everybody this morning was going on about the Glazers. Now we know why the Glazers wanted to stay, blah, 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 blah. We put out our statement at 2:00. And then everything comes out again about Sir Jim's 25%. It's just PR bollocks. It's just media PR bollocks. So that's my take on it anyway. I could be completely wrong, but that's my take.
Okay. Andrew, as we say, you are the match going man at the moment. You are our season ticket holder, and obviously John Neville comes on as well with that. I'm dying to know what, first of all, just what you heard within the ground, I suppose, when this was all originally coming about, your general thoughts from then, and really just sort of how you feel that would have changed. Do you feel that if at any point United were to come out and say, yes, we want to join that it wouldn't take long before all hell broke loose again and that would all go a little bit by the wayside? What view do you share?
Yeah, if United would then, well, I know they've come out today and said they're not going to be
Excuse me.
potential new Super League, and like I say, if they were to change them on, all hell would break loose again, just like that last time. But as the court ruled, it was unlawful to ban these clubs from joining. But they also said did not mean a breakaway league would necessarily be approved, which UEFA and FIFA are never going to approve. So, and the big driver of this is money. You look at the main clubs that are really, really pushing it was Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Juventus. And those clubs are in like lots of debt, so that's why they're pushing it. They want the more money so they can, get rid of their debt. That's what's been driving them. So, and obviously the Glazers have seen pound signs as well. And it was like when they initially proposed the Super League, it was going to be a bit like a closed shop. So, a bit like in American football, the Buccaneers in the NFL, like no one gets relegated. So for the Glazers, it was like win-win for them. But so us fans were not going to like that. So I just remember when it was all kicking off. I think I remember seeing on the TV. I think saying like so tribalism went out the way and all football fans come together. And I think there's one banner, so we want our rainy nights in Stoke. Going to those sort of games where there's going to be tough games. That's what we enjoy. Enjoy going to that. Having those midweek games against the top teams in the Premier League. Those at the bottom as well. And competing in Europe against all teams from Europe. Yeah, I think fellow season ticket holder I sit next to, you sort of said, well, yeah, you do want to see us playing like the PSG, Real Madrid, like more often, but who wants to come and see us watch, against one of those European teams you've probably never heard of. So, but like I enjoy those games as well. I'm seeing United play and the European team coming to.
The thing about that, though, Andrew, as we're both season ticket holders, right, mate, and you know how the cup scheme operates. Now, when you move into a 32 team, what was it? 8, 10, 12 games guaranteed?
It was 7 home, 7 away.
So 14 games.
Yes.
So 14 games. That's an extra 7. Come what may, you've got to buy. So as a season ticket holder, we've got to buy those tickets, because if you don't buy those tickets, and Andrew, for example, which he tries to go away as much as he can, if he doesn't buy the away tickets, even if he doesn't go, he can't get into the ballot. He can't get balloted. He might not get FA Cup final tickets. He might not get Carabao Cup tickets, and so it's all well and good, but you still got to buy the tickets. As I found out, didn't I, last year? I didn't. I opted out the FA Cup, didn't I? And we couldn't go to the Carabao Cup game final, and my lad was really pissed off at me, so I had to buy everything this year.
Yeah,
and that will get worse and worse and worse if this continues.
I was going to say, like where I see it for Champions League games, like an extra 50 quid each time. So it's working that out. It's like 350 quid if it's 7 games at home. So as the Champions League, well, the current Champions League, it's 3 home games. So
3 home games.
150 quid. Someone will be paying an extra 200 quid on top of that. So I can see
those 4 games.
The cost of it is.
It's
like a couple of friends I know of at the end that then looking to move from South Stand into the Stretford end. So, because it's going to be a little bit cheap. That's what they said. Oh, cost wise, they're going to be saving about 300 quid for over the season. So I can, let's say, cost does come down to it for the fans as well. So it's just, let's say they're going to float this idea around, so coming up with some new ideas and so trying to 10 clubs, but just let's say the Champions League's reformat itself. It's almost like Super League slightly via the back door, slightly. I'm trying to get it that way, but
I mean, the other thing will be how do you qualify for the World Club Cup as well? Is it top 2, top 3 in your league? How do you qualify for that? Is it if you win the Champions League, you're automatically in the World Club Cup? Sorry, you are anyway. That's not what I meant. But, so if there's 2 English teams and the English team loses the final, do they automatically qualify for the World Club Cup? Then you've got that to maybe finance as well. You just don't know how it is for ordinary match-going fans. It's deplorable, really, if you ask me. Manchester United have squeezed season ticket holders now. You can't fucking breathe. You can't breathe.
They necessarily don't need us. Well, in terms of
don't need us.
They could let us all in for free and still make money.
Yeah.
Our match day income doesn't,
They could.
Like
They definitely won't.
Yeah.
But there we go. Well done, guys. You've comprehensively nailed what I thought you would do there. Just for the clarity, United did put out a statement and they said our position has not changed. We remain fully committed to participation in UEFA competitions and to positive cooperation with UEFA, Premier League and fellow clubs through the ECA on the continued development of the European game, which has pretty much been copy and pasted by all of the big sides from England and Chelsea. So there we go. And yes, I did do that on purpose. So well done, everyone. It's been an absolute banger. Congratulations to Stu and Dan for making it through whilst being knocked down with man flu. We will be back. The plan is to be back on Saturday night at 9:00 after the West Ham game. Gives us a nice little opportunity to just discuss what happened in that. And then we're going to have the first ever sort of men's Christmas cracker where hopefully we'll have a few more people on this one as well. Nice one. Yeah.
I've been on here for years. I am the cracker.
No, you're the present, Stu.
What the hell is going on here?
You're putting my leg now rather than the cracker, are you?
I'm only joking. What is it the clown? As Andrew would say, it's the clown. Fucking Stu the clown's it.
The idea being just to get a few people on if we can. So that'll be from 9:00. It'll be a big shift for me because Saturday night, 7:00, we are having the WFC, the Women's Channel 1, 7 and 9. Hopefully we'll get a bit of time to finish a little bit earlier. We shall see. And then at 9:00, the plan will be to do one here as well on the men's channel where we'll just chat all sorts of rubbish and throw some games and stuff like that out there. So hopefully we'll have some people on that. Otherwise it'll just be me and Dan, which can be quite sad. So we shall see. But we'll look forward to that. Congratulations as well to Mariette. For those who didn't see, she's United, as we know right now, Sports Personality of the Year as well as Goalkeeper of the Year. So whatever might be happening on WFC when you see me on there, we've still got to say congratulations to the young lady because it's always nice when United win things, and it's been a while, hasn't it, chaps? So we'll celebrate that whilst we can. Congrats, everyone. Thank you. It's been brilliant in the comment session. Lovely to see people like Vicky back in again as well, and all the regulars. And we shall see you hopefully on Saturday. Night all.